A new book is helping regular folks break down some complex concepts in Catholic theology. The Light of Christ, an introduction to Catholicism, is grounded in traditional theology, but it addresses current day issues and questions facing the Church. Joining us now is Father Thomas Joseph White, author of the book. So, Father, tell us what inspired you to write this book in the first place.
Well, Wyatt, I live in Washington, D.C., and I work with young adults interested in Catholicism. Often they're agnostic, or they're seeking, they're spiritual but not religious, or they're maybe from a Protestant background or some other religious tradition. And they're interested in the claims of the Catholic Church, whether the faith is reasonable, and they have often a lot of the sort of secular queries or questions of people of our time.
So what are some of the main themes?
Well, often you would have a question like, is it reasonable to believe in any religious authority? Can we trust a claim to divine revelation at all? Is the historical Jesus who the Church says he is? Can we trust the New Testament and the dogma of the Church? Is modern science compatible with the faith? Can traditional Catholicism be harmonized with the teachings of modern science? And does Catholic moral teaching lead us to happiness, or is it oppressive? Is it a source of fulfillment, or is it really kind of a source of illusion? So very frank questions like that. And those themes are in this book, where I try to take the questions very seriously and answer them while presenting the traditional Catholic faith to people and explaining it, presupposing very little exposure previously to theology.
Sure, sometimes answering those frank questions can be so worthwhile. In the book you write, and I want to read this quote here because it's interesting, the idea of leaving our intellect behind to become spiritual is a very strange and inhuman. However, it is a view that is very widespread. The vulgar commonplace form is the saying, I'm spiritual but not religious. Well, we hear that one all the time. What exactly do you mean by that quote?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of people think that we approach God through a kind of blind act of faith in a religious tradition or in customs or rituals, but that we don't analyze religious truth claims as giving us an explanation of reality. And actually, Thomas Aquinas teaches you cannot love what you don't first know. And so it's actually in trying to understand God and the world realistically that we come to know God and love God, and that the will follows the mind in a certain sense. And a lot of the claims of our contemporaries to say that it's perhaps best to be spiritual but not religious are grounded in a fear of you might say, the determinations of dogma and ritual, that if I get into one tradition's teaching and rituals, I'm limiting myself, I'm narrowing myself. But actually, in some ways, these are disciplines of the soul which go hand in hand with trying to clarify what it means to be spiritual, to try to find the truth about our spiritual life, to find the truth about how to approach God with other people.
Such important topics and such an important book in this day and age. Father Thomas Joseph White, author of The Light of Christ, an introduction to Catholicism. Thanks so much.
Thank you, White.